Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is Author Reason News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, June 14th, 2017. Yes, it is Flag Day. Plus, King Diamond's birthday. He turned 61. In addition, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, turned 71. Interesting, I just got up this morning and found out what happened in Alexandria, Virginia. A horrific ordeal that occurred at the baseball field. Looks like they were planning to do a Democrat-Republicans charity baseball game. And it was during practice, and some insane shooter started going attacking people. This even occurred in San Francisco, the UPS building office as well. When the madness is going to stop? You think tougher firearm law is going to resolve it? Absolutely not. A lot of it's just a pipe dream. It's just everyone's state of mind. I need to be more focused on that. And it's a real shame when you have individuals out there that have the malice on destroying people unjustifiably. But we just know the basics of what the shooter's about. And I'm expecting more details to come out. However, we'll just mostly talking about James T. Hodgkinson, who was a known shooter. And of course, you go on Twitter, hashtag Alexandria, everyone's just start speaking their minds on this. Want to blame some of the celebrities and this and that, and they want to blame it on guns, tougher firearm laws. And we don't know if he's in mental health, Mr. Hodgkinson. We don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. So, a lot of folks are becoming experts. I like when they're on their videos and all that. And House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, who represents District 1, if I'm correct, in Louisiana, he got shot in the hip, undergoing surgery in stable condition, so that's good. And there's even claim that James T. Hodgkinson, 66, was a known Trump hater. And, it goes on and on and on. All these folks here just want to say, so angry, screaming at the top of their lungs. And, of course, the photo shoot, Kathy Griffin. Now watch the media blames guns rather than their own anti-Trump hysteria. FBI's terminate the Republican Party group. So... people are going to go back and forth. We're going to see how accurate this really story is going to go. So, we'll just talk about James T. Hodgkinson and 5 facts you need to know. It came out today. Updated an hour ago. A little over an hour by Tom Cleary. And let's see what it reads here. As any Trump Republican-hating Bernie Sanders supporter with a history of domestic violence has been identified as the shooter who opened fire on a Republican members of Congress Wednesday morning at a baseball field in Alexandria, Virginia, the Washington Post reports. A history of domestic violence. And the Sanders supporter. But we'll continue on here. He was shot by police at the scene and later died at a local hospital. President Donald Trump said 5 other people, including congressmen, were shot, but none were killed. Lawmakers have praised the action of police in stopping the shooter, preventing a massacre. James T. Hodgkinson, 66, was from Belleville, Illinois. The newspaper reports as a motive for the shooting is not yet known, but Hodgkinson's Facebook page shows someone who had a high interest in politics who supported Bernie Sanders during the presidential election and expressed anger with President Trump and Republican congressmen. The gunman was shot by 2 Capitol Hill police officers who were at the scene as security detail for Representative Steve Scalise, I think it's called, Scalise, the House Majority Whip, who was among those shot. The 2 police officers, Special Agents David Bailey and Crystal Grinner, were also wounded, along with Zach Barth, a staffer of Representative Roger Williams of Texas, and former staffer turned lobbyist Matt Micah. The victims were all expected to survive, but Micah was the most seriously injured and was in critical condition Wednesday afternoon. Well, hopefully for a full recovery, I would say. Please. You can be critical towards these individuals, but don't use direct malice. Wish them any ill. 2 congressmen, Representative Jack Duncan and Representative Ron DeSantis, describe an encounter with a man who asked them those practicing were Republicans or Democrats before the shooting. DeSantis were shown a photo of Hodgkinson confirmed he was a man who approached him, CNBC reports. Alexandria Police Chief Michael Brown said his officers and Capitol Police officers exchanged fire with the gunman. Sources told the CNN it was a deliberate attack. The GOP baseball team was practicing in the Eugene Simpson Stadium Park in the Del Rey neighborhood of Alexandria when the shooting occurred. The Republican team was prepared to play its annual game against Democratic congressmen at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. The post will be updated as more information is available. Here's what we know so far. Hodgkinson, a Bernie campaign volunteer, wrote on Facebook, "Trump is a traitor. It's time to destroy Donald Trump and destroy Trump and company." It's his Facebook page. Interesting. Features a banner image of Senator Bernie Sanders and profile picture about democratic socialism. His profile picture says democratic socialism explained in 3 words: "We the people," since 1776. Hodgkinson was a Belleville, Illinois native. According to his Facebook page, he owned a company, JTH Inspections, also called JTH Construction, and studied at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. He went to Belleville Township High School and also studied flight training at Southwestern Illinois College. Belleville is a town on about 40,000 people across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. Here at home of James T. Hodgkinson, who was in custody in connection with the shooting at congressional baseball game and practice. So there's videos and all that by Kesley Landis. So you can see the videos on here. There's 11 seconds long, so it's a quick tweet. Hodgkinson was married according to KMOTV. He also has a daughter and grandchildren according to his wife's Facebook page. Justin Andrews, I just stopped by James Hodgkinson's listed business address. His wife was apparently leaves there. Neighbor says she is at work. He was a prolific Facebook user with 2 pages, including several political posts, expressing anger in recent weeks with the Trump administration over several years with Republican politicians. He also expressed support for Bernie Sanders and parts of politics and hatred for Hillary Clinton. Well, we have something in common. Hate our interactions. On March 22nd, he wrote, "Trump is a traitor. Trump has destroyed our democracy. It's time to destroy Trump and company." This is on here, change.org. March 22nd, Facebook, Twitter page. U.S. Senate legal removal of the president, vice president, misprision for treason, signed a petition. You have to have merit first. On a second Facebook page in his name, Hodgkinson wrote 2 days ago, "I want to say, Mr. President, for being an asshole, you are the truly biggest asshole we have ever had in the Oval Office. On June 2012, he wrote, "Make America Great Again, resign," along with the meme of Trump with the words, "All in all is just another prick in a wall." He wrote, "Trump is guilty, should go to prison for treason, and Trump is mean, disgusting person." He has been critical of the Trump administration, called for Democrats to fight against it. James Hodgkinson, has some tweets on this page from the JTH inspections. "I'm asking for a filibuster. I'm asking for a filibuster." Okay. Hodgkinson's campaign for Sanders in Iowa, while the Vermont lawmaker was running for the Democratic presidential nomination last year, the Washington Post reports. Charles O'Rear, 50 of St. Louis, who worked alongside him, called Hodgkinson a passionate progressive who shows no signs of violence or malice towards others. "You got to be kidding me," O'Rear told the newspaper. "I met him at the Murdy Trail in Iowa, worked with him in the Quad Cities area." He said Hodgkinson was a quiet guy, very mellow, very reserved, who stayed with him at fellow Sanders supporters' home in Illinois. "He was a union tradesman, pretty stocky, and we stayed up talking politics," he told the Post. "He was more on the really progressive side of things." In August 2016, after Sanders lost the Democratic nomination, he posted on Facebook, "I want Bernie to win the White House," along with a petition call for Sanders to join the Green Party. And there's, of course, more Twitter stuff here. He was anti-Hillary Clinton, according to his Facebook post. "Bernie's a progressive, Hillary is a Republican light," he wrote. In other words, he posts, "Scream as one, never voting Hill, and you've been warned, DNC, I will never vote Hillary. The nomination for Hillary equals a win for Trump. Hashtag not with her." Well, we got some things we can agree on here, huh? He wrote, "Bernie is the only candidate in decades that really cares about the working class. Bernie is a candidate of a lifetime. We need Bernie in the White House. Bernie's the only candidate talking about the issues." In a statement, Sanders said that he is sickened by this despicable act. You can read the statement below, and as it reads here. On June 14th, Bernie Sanders issued a following statement as receiving reports on the alleged shooter at a congressional baseball practice Wednesday morning. "I've been just informed that the alleged shooter at the Republican baseball practice is someone who apparently volunteered my presidential campaign. I am sickened by this despicable act. Let me be clear as I can be. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in our society, and I condemn this action in the strongest possible term. Real change could only come about through nonviolent action, and anything else runs against our most deeply held American values. My hopes and prayers are that Representative Scalise, congressional staff, and Capitol Police officers who were wounded make a quick and full recovery. I also want to thank the Capitol Police for their heroic actions to prevent further harm." I just been informed, so the whole thing has all been read here. Sanders also tweeted, but our prayers go to the full recovery for Scalise, the congressional aide, and police who were injured. We got to stop the violence. He wrote several letters. Hodgkinson wrote several letters to a local newspaper, which you can see above. So, stuff here. Let me see. Let's see what they got here. Interesting stuff about that. Okay. Oh, heck. Sorry about that. Ooh. A little bit exhausted. Yeah, you can actually read some of the stuff here. Very interesting. Let's just see. Yeah. So he does write, but that's interesting. So let's continue on. Two has posted about his anger with congressional Republicans several times on his Facebook page and shared Annie Scalise's cartoon. It's right there. Hodgkinson's contacted Congressman Mike Post, a Republican, 14 times through phone calls and emails. The Washington Post reports every issue that we're working on, he was not in support of. Both said the congressman told the newspaper that his communications took a left-wing slant but did not include threats, only anger. Both said he never crossed the line, but he was always angry. In addition to his contact with Bose and other political activity, including going to protest, he posted often about his hatred for Republicans on social media. On May 26, Hodgkinson shared a post from Republicans Suck, saying Republicans hate women, minorities, working class people, and most all 99% of the people of the country. He seemed angered by the GOP's health care plan. He wrote on May 31st, higher costs, less coverage. Who would have thought that Republican lawmakers don't give a damn about working class in this country? The same day he wrote, vote all Republicans out of office is a start. Yeah, so we'll get all Democrats in there. We'll just go hallelujah. Everything will be so perfect. Or all Green Party guys, right? Come on, it's government. You gotta think the bigger picture, my friends. On June 8th, he wrote, founding fathers will hate what our democracy has been morphed into. We now have an atrocity of corporatocracy and oligarchy and plutocracy. This turned our country into a fascist state. Vote blue is right for you. Well, technically, to be very sincere, we're never actually a democracy. So I don't know where he got all that from. Vote blue, it's right for you. Vote blue, you can get screwed too. That's how I look at it, all right? Hodgkinson wrote a post in 2015 criticizing Republican members of Congress. The Republican Congress strikes again. He wrote while sharing a Matt Davies comic about Republicans. He shared several cartoons in 2015, including one that was of Representative Steve Scalise. He wrote, here's a Republican that should lose his job, but they gave him a raise. Cartoon shows Scalise speaking before a group of hooded KKK members in reference to the 2014 incident. When it was revealed he'd spoken before a white supremacist group with the caption, when I spoke to a racist group in 2002, it was an innocent mistake. I have no idea who they were. I couldn't see their faces. And there's a page there. You can see that on Facebook. So Facebook page on there. It says here in June 2015, he wrote the opposite of liberal progressive is a bigoted racist that wants the rich to get richer at the expense of the 99%. Republicans are so stupid. Well, can you explain then? How come Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act into law? Okay. He wrote in May 2015, congressional Republicans hate Americans. They should be voted out of office. And he has started an actual website, Facebook page called The Road to Hell is Paved with Republicans. Of course. And Hodgkinson was also a member of the group titled Terminate the Republican Party and The Road to Hell is Paved with Republicans. Other groups include Boycott the Republican Party, Expose Republican Fraud, Donald Trump is not my president, and Illinois Banners Unite to Resist Trump. He recently criticized Karen Handel, the Republican candidate for Georgia's 6th Congressional District, for not supporting a livable wage in a Facebook post on June 8th. And he made his little quote. It says here, he wrote, Republican bitch wants to work for slave wages when a livable wage is the only way to go. Vote blue is right for you. Interesting because it sounds good, but the fine print's always been bad. Go here. 3, he was accused of pulling hair out of his girlfriend's head, punching another woman in the face, and shooting at a man in 2006, but charges were dropped. James T. Hodgkinson was charged with battery and aiding damage to a vehicle in April 2006 in St. Clair County, Illinois. The Washington Post reports the charges were dismissed according to NBC News. Hodgkinson pulled hair out of his girlfriend's head. During the incident, police seized a pocket knife and a 12-gauge shotgun at the scene. Oh, sorry about that. And let's say, of course, reviewed and obtained NBC News show that James T. Hodgkinson's date of birth is December 12th, 1950. He was listed 5'6" and weighed 202 pounds per his last arrest report. Hodgkinson had a history of arrests when charged in 2006 with assaulting his girlfriend. At the time, police recovered a pocket knife. Harris said it was pulled out of the girlfriend's head, and they recovered a 12-gauge shotgun at the scene. During the incident in 2006, he was also accused of punching another man's girlfriend in the face with a closed fist. A police report obtained by the Daily Beast shows Hodgkinson then followed the man outside of the house with a shotgun and fired one round. Police said the report that Hodgkinson was observed throwing an unidentified woman around a bedroom during that same incident, and then following her when she broke free, hitting her arms, pulling her hair. The woman tried to leave in the vehicle. Hodgkinson reached into it and turned off the ignition. The Beast report. James then pulled out a possible pocket knife and cut the woman's seatbelt. According to the Belleville News-Democrat, his record also included charges for failing to obtain electrical permits, damaging a motor vehicle, resisting a police officer, eluding police, critical damage to property, driving under the influence, and traffic offenses. Most of the charges were violations of petty offenses. Police went to Hodgkinson's Illinois home in March 2017 for a report of shots fired. NBC News called 911 callers reporting hearing 50 shots. According to police, Hodgkinson was found with a weapon with a valid firearms license, Illinois firearms license. The officer told Hodgkinson not to fire his weapon near his home because other residents were nearby. He was not arrested in the incident. His neighbor, William Schallenfeld, who called police, told the Daily Beast that Hodgkinson was firing in pine trees. I thought, my God, what was this guy shooting? Schallenfeld said. Hodgkinson then fired across Schallenfeld's field and yelled to him to say there were houses in the direction he should stop. Schallenfeld called it shooting target practice. He said almost everyone in his rural neighborhood owns guns, but no one starts firing randomly outside. In an interview with Daily Beast, a neighbor called, I told my wife I want to call the sheriff. He's liable to turn the guns on us. He was being very reckless that day. 4. He didn't renew his business license. Moved to Virginia a few months ago and was spotted at a YMCA several times near the baseball field. Hodgkinson, 66, owned a firearm and a home inspection business in his home state. Newspaper reports according to his Facebook page. Hodgkinson left that job in December 2016, though it is not clear if he shut the company or what the circumstances surrounding that were. Described his job as being a home inspector, mold air quality tester. According to the Belleville News-Democrat, Hodgkinson was licensed home inspector from 1990 to 1997 when it expired. He held the same license again from 2003 to 2016 when it was not renewed. Okay, interesting here. Let's see what it has here in this tweet. American Society of Home Inspectors is deeply saddened by the shooting incident in Virginia this morning. We are aware that the alleged shooting suspect has been named as James T. Hodgkinson. We can confirm Hodgkinson was a former ASHI member. His membership ended in 2015. We retain no current ties with him. ASHI extends sympathies to members of Congress, staff, first responders, and all others affected by the strategy. It's by Abby Lurico, KSDK. His wife told ABC News that he'd been living at Alexandria, Virginia for about 2 months. An Alexandrian resident and attorney, Stephen Brenwald, told the Washington Post he had seen Hodgkinson hanging out often the very past several weeks in the lobby at the YMCA near the baseball field where the shooting occurred. He would come to the YMCA the first thing in the morning, take his laptop and stare out the window, the Post reports. He never worked out. He never talked to anybody. He never did anything. Brenwald told the newspaper. He just sit there and stare at his laptop. It didn't seem right, but I figured maybe he's a law enforcement guy monitoring something. He has this kind of faraway stare. Michael Hodgkinson, his brother, told the New York Times he has been distraught about the election. I knew he wasn't happy the way things were going, the election results and stuff. Michael Hodgkinson told the Times, but he said the shooting is totally out of the blue, adding that his brother was engaged in politics but lived a normal life. Michael Hodgkinson told the Times he had spoken to his brother's wife on Tuesday. She told him that James was planning on returning home soon, but because he missed her and their dogs. 5. The shooter, armed with a rifle, began firing from behind third base as congressmen were on the field practicing. James Hodgkinson was armed with a rifle when he opened fire at the Alexandria baseball field. Witnesses say a handgun was also recovered at the scene. Lawmakers described a chaotic scene. Representative Mel Brooks told CNN the shooter was near third base when the gunfire began. He said he heard a loud bam, and there were dozens of shots, possibly hundreds, by the end of the incident, which witnesses say at least lasted 10 to 15 minutes. I see a rifle and I see a little bit of body, then I hear another bam, and I realize it's still an active shooter. At the same time, I hear Steve Scalise over the second base scream, "He was shot." Brooks told CNN. There's a photo of that, too. Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona told reporters Scalise dragged himself about 15 yards away from second base, right into right field after he was shot. He was laying motionless out there, but we couldn't get to him until the shooting had stopped, Flake said. A staffer of Representative Roger Williams was then also shot in the leg. Flake said officers from the Capitol Police weren't the first to exchange gunfire with the shooter. Katie Fellis of Alexandria told the Washington Post she saw an officer drew her gun on the gunman. Flew said police agent pulled out the gun and tried to shoot back. She was screaming, "Drop your weapon," and she shot her and she fell on the ground. She fell on the ground in front of us. We're all just trying to lay flat as we could. A belly crawl dragging through the mud. I got to the car and I ducked under the car, and as I laid as I could under the car to hide from the person, then the police seemed to come. Congressmen at the scene are crediting it to Capitol Police Officer Special Agent Davis Bailey and Special Agent Crystal Grinner, who were at the detail for Scalise, who is the House Majority Whip and has 24-hour protection because he's part of the Republican leadership. We're all just like sitting ducks centered around Paul, Kentucky, told Fox News. Without the Capitol Police, we would have been massacred. Well, you just need to start carrying your gun there, Senator. Paul told CNN, when you have nobody to defend yourself, the field was essentially a killing field. Can I tell you that I think with absolute certainty that nobody will have to survive without the Capitol Police. They had to save everybody's life. They're going to be brave and deserve everyone's praise. Because with this guy, you know how heavily armed he was, but nobody else had a weapon, Paul said. We had nothing but baseball bats to fight back against a rifle with. Representative Mo Brooks told CNN, and I tell you, those two security details, those two Capitol Police officers, as they showed criminal bravery, pistol against a rifle from a 90 to 120 feet distance. As you know, that kind of distance heavily favors the rifle. Alexandria police responded in about 3 minutes. Police Chief Michael Brown told reporters that city officers joined the Capitol Police and trying to take down the gunman. Two of our officers engaged in gunfire and returned fire, Brown said. The Capitol Police were wounded in the shooting, are expected to survive. Representative Stephen Scalise was taken from the scene in a helicopter, while other victims were rushed to the hospital by ambulance. His office said in a statement that the Congressman was undergoing surgery Wednesday morning at MedStar Washington Mental Hospital Center. The statement says Scalise spoke to his wife, Jennifer, on the phone and with a good spirits prior to entering surgery. And there's a tweet on that. Sorry about that. We ask that you keep the whip and others harmed in this incident. Your thoughts and prayers, the statement said. The FBI Special Agent in charge, Tim Slater, said an active investigation about the community where the shooting occurred is secured. Slater said the FBI had taken the lead because the shooting involved members of Congress, Alexandria Police Department, Virginia, state agencies, and other federal law enforcement, including ATF and Capitol Police, are involved in the investigation, Slater said. The suspect is in custody and not a threat, police said on Twitter. And a heavy police presence was at the scene, which is in the 400 block of East Monroe Street. Police have not released information about the shooter's motive. Investigators were planning to obtain search warrants for a van that was at the scene and for the shooting of Hodgkinson's Illinois home. Trump made a statement on it. President Donald Trump issued a televised statement to the country, which you can read below. Sorry about that. A little bit of a yawn. As you know, shortly after 7 p.m. this morning, a gunman opened fire on members of Congress and their staffs as they were practicing for tomorrow's annual charity baseball game. Authorities continue to investigate the crime, and the assailant has now died from his injuries. The FBI is leading the investigation and will continue to provide updates as new information becomes available. Congressman Steve Scalise, a member of House leadership, was shot and badly wounded and is now in stable condition at the hospital, along with two very courageous Capitol police officers. At least two others were also wounded. Many lives would have been lost if not for the heroic actions of the two Capitol police officers who took down the gunman despite the sustaining gunshot wounds during a very, very brutal assault. Men are grateful for the heroism and praying for the swift recovery of all victims. Congressman Scalise is a friend, a very good friend. He's a patriot, and he's a fighter. He will recover from his assault. And Steve, I want you to know that you have the prayers not only for the entire city behind you, but our entire nation and, frankly, the entire world. America's praying for you, and America's praying for you for all the victims of this terrible shooting. I spoke with Steve's wife, Jennifer, and I pledged to her our full and absolute support and everything she needs. We are with her and with the entire Scalise family. I also have spoken with Chief Matthew Verderosa. He's doing a fantastic job at the Capitol Police to express our sympathies for his wounded officers and express my admiration for their courage. Our brave Capitol Police perform a challenging job with incredible skills and their sacrifice to make democracy possible. These rhetorics are total turnoff at times. We also commend the brave first responders from Alexandria Police, Fire, Rescue, who rushed to the scene. Everyone in the field is a public servant. Our courageous police, our congressional aides who work so tirelessly behind the scenes with enormous devotion, our dedicated members of Congress who represent our people. We may have our differences, but we do well in times like these to remember that everyone who serves in our nation's capital is here. Above all, they love our country. We can all agree that we are blessed to be Americans, that our children deserve to grow up in a nation of safety and peace, and that we are the strongest, we're unified, and we work together for the common good. Please take a moment today to cherish those you love and always remember those who serve and keep us safe. God bless them all. God bless you. God bless America. Sounds like a sales pitch. Got to always look at the bigger picture, right? House Speaker Paul Ryan said in the floor statement, we're giving all of our thoughts and prayers to those currently being treated for their injuries at this moment. and we are united. We are united in our shock and anguish, and an attack on one of us is an attack on us all. You can read more of the speech below. And there's a video on here too. You can see for yourselves. A little bit of a neocon, I would say. Paul Ryan. And it says here, my colleagues, there are many memories from this day where we want to forget, and many images we will not see again. But there's one image in particular that his house should keep, and that is a photo I saw our Democrat colleagues gathered in prayer this morning after hearing the news. You know, every day we come here to test and challenge each other. We feel so deeply about things we fight for and believe in. At times, our emotions can get the best of us. We are all imperfect, but we need to shed our humanity when we enter this chamber. For all the noise and fury, we are family. These are our brothers and sisters in the line of fire. These are the brothers and sisters who ran into danger and saved countless lives. So before this house returns to its business, I want to slow down and reflect, think about how we are being tested right now, because we are. I ask each of you to join me in resolving to come together, to lift each other up, to show the country, show the world that we are one house, the people's house, united in our humanity. Is humanity in which one day and always will. Of course, everyone applauds. Yay! All right. The shooting was the first involving a member of Congress since the Arizona Representative Gabby Giffords was attacked in January 2011 at the Congress on Your Corner event in Tucson. Giffords was shot in the head but survived, while 6 others were killed and 12 were wounded. The gunman pleaded guilty in 2012 and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. One of them that was murdered was Judge Rolle, Rolle, he made that judgment on the Prince versus the United States case in the U.S. District Courts. Something to think about, right? Giffords, who has become a leading gun control advocate since the shooting, tweeted on Wednesday, my heart to my former colleagues and their families and staff in the U.S. Capitol, public servants, and heroes today and every day. So, gotta look at all those areas. It's interesting about this whole thing with James T. Hodgkinson. Always gotta look at the bigger picture, right? Absolutely. I'm gonna take a little break. We'll be back. Ooh, okay, so I just had to go a little like dozing off there. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you're gonna be hearing the whole shenanigans, this and that, the parties this, the party that. But folks, you know me, I just tell everyone, just do your damn homework. Then you have all your ammunition right there. Now I'll be going back to Scalise in a little bit, because he claims he's a patriot, a great fighter for freedom, according to Trump. But I see things a bit different based on what I read on some of his voting record. However, so wish him and everyone else their full recovery regardless, okay? So let's just keep on going here. This is one by Mike Adams from Natural News. And it says here, deranged Bernie Sanders supporter attempts mass political execution of Republicans at a softball game. Has a civil war begun? As it reads here, news is breaking everywhere of the deranged Bernie Sanders supporter who opened fire on Republican playing softball earlier this morning. Congressman Scalise was injured, but is reported in stable condition at the moment. He's headed into surgery. At least 2 congressional staffers are also shot at one of them. That was reportedly shot in the chest. Capitol Police returned fire and struck the shooter, injuring him, and eventually taking him into custody, according to reports. It is rumored that the suspect has died in custody, but that is not confirmed, which it is now. He has died. The shooter has been identified as James T. Hodgkinson, a Bernie Sanders supporter who was clearly radicalized by the left-wing media, which continues to promote seething hatred, anger, and violence towards President Trump and conservatives are in general. Smoking Gun is also reporting that the shooter posted on Facebook it's time to destroy Trump and company via Smoking Gun. Accused shooter James B. Hodgkinson, 66, posted a link in the change petition, James.org petition in late March, according to the notation that Trump's a traitor. Trump has destroyed our democracy, and it's time to destroy Trump and company. Talk about witch hunting fetishes, huh? So, of course, you can see the video on there, breaking report. Hodgkinson's Facebook page includes numerous photos of Senator Bernie Sanders, whom Hodgkinson appeared to have supported during the 2016 Democratic presidential primary. And in post last August, Hodgkinson wrote, "I want Bernie to win the White House. Bernie is progressive, while Hillary is Republican light." So, I'll continue here. Is this the start of a civil war in America? Well, it's clear that from this event that the radical left extremists are now engaging their political opponents with deadly weapons. It is not merely an act of terrorism, it is an act of war being waged by insane, deranged leftists who are radicalized by the left-wing media to push this nation to a civil war. It underscores the severity of the hatred and violence being pushed by a deranged left, which now routinely promotes mass death, violence against conservatives and Trump. Kathy Griffin recently promoted a video showing bloody, decapitated head of President Trump demonstrating ISIS-style tactics for murdering of your political opponents. The message: it is okay to kill Republicans, and especially Trump. New York Times openly sponsoring a New York City NYC theater event featured a play that depicts the stage murder of President Trump. American Express, also funding the play, has refused to pull its funding, insisting that financially supporting public depictions of murder against a Republican president is somehow completely acceptable. Snoop Dogg also depicts a shooting of President Trump in a widely criticized music video. Madonna famously said in a resistance rally that she was ready to blow up the White House. I don't know why they call it resistance rally. It's more like a her conformed rally. Her conformist. They're not rebellious enough, okay? So I will continue on here. Prominent members of the left-wing media routinely praise the idea of President Trump being murdered or killed. For example, the LA Times employed a writer who openly hopes that Trump will be murdered. His writer wasn't even fired by the LA Times. Kathy Griffin perfectly illustrates the extreme hatred, violence, and vile death worship of the deranged lunatic left. I've seen that video on that too, and Kathy Griffin had that ritualistic stance. So continue on here. How much more violence and hatred from the deranged left can be tolerated? Well, it's now crystal clear that the left-wing media is complicit in these mass murders and attempted political executions. If the deranged left-wing media continues to push its narrative of hatred, violence, and mass media, this will only lead to more attempted political executions and the risk of civil war in the streets of America. Is what the left wants? Absolutely. Under the propaganda programming of the deranged media, leftists have become violent, hate-filled lunatics seething with anger. They literally seek the mass murder of all their political enemies. They are mentally deranged, unstable, and irrational. They cannot be reasoned with or bargained with. Their power to be extreme hatred being pushed by the left-wing media, CNN, NYT, Washington Post, MSNBC, etc., coupled with extreme hatred of late-night comedy shows that spew hatred pretending to be comedy. Make no mistake, the radical left media is the propaganda force behind this violence. They literally seek the mass executions of their political opponents, and they love the fact that they can drive global citizens to carrying out these attacks against their political opponents. Today, left is cheering this attempted mass murder, and that underscores why the deranged left-wing media, now a journal terrorism regime, is the single greatest danger for security and safety of citizens in the United States of America. So you have to look at it that way as well, with the whole psychological Edward Bernays' propaganda playbook, Mind Control 101, the fear factor, use anger against certain individuals that has your different thoughts of views on a peaceable basis. This is why, my friends, I don't really watch the idiot box. Every time I do, with the same version of lamestream media, I just laugh at them. When I go to the bathroom, take a dump, I find that I achieve that more than watching this mindless fluff. And yes, I am. You can tell me I am a critic of Trump in a lot of areas. Okay, the truth of the matter is, if you're going to shoot innocent people, especially unnecessarily, you're the criminal. You're the piece of garbage. It doesn't matter what your views are. It's completely unacceptable. And if you're going to be doing that, Lord willing, prepare to receive the bellicose treatment as well. Because one thing for sure, self-defense is righteous. And I will defend myself and my family if you're going to pull that crap around me. Plain and simple. And I'm not the only one. So this is why a lot of folks in here need to start thinking for yourselves rather than be part of some herd conformist Mickey Mouse club. All right, so next one here, same thing is by J.D. Hayes, and from Natural News as well. And this one's entitled, Would be political assassin Bernie Sanders supporter? Will Democrats now take responsibility for fomenting so much hate and violence? As it reads here, the shooter and wannabe murderer of as many Republicans as possible, James T. Hodgkinson of Belleville, Illinois, was a known supporter of Democratic Socialist and 2016 Democratic presidential contender, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, though you won't see any highlighted by the ideology bankrupt mainstream America, the same media that was quick to be labeled a leading conservative Republican as being responsible for the shooting of a Democratic congresswoman in 2011. As noted by Smoking Gun website, posted on the front on his Facebook page. Like I said before, Trump has destroyed democracy. I already read that part. And of course, it says over here on his in addition, as noted on his Facebook page, Hodgkinson posted a number of photos of Sanders. His profile picture features the words Democratic Socialism explained in 3 words, we the people. When the American flag backdrop, though he obviously doesn't understand that our nation's founders were capitalists who believe that this best economic model to foster maximum freedom and individual liberty, as opposed to top-down government-controlled socialist economies, see Venezuela. Last August, he wrote, I want Bernie to win the White House. Bernie's a progressive, while Hillary's Republican light. Media pushing violent narrative, hatred, and violence against conservatives, understanding that the shooting has occurred against backdrop of unprecedented levels of hatred being directed at President Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party in general, hatred which has been carefully cultivated and fomented by members of the Democratic Party through vicious resist rhetoric and depict approval from all forms of violence directed at conservatives on campus, the entertainment industry, and at political rallies and all events all over the country. Republicans have recently faced increasing violence and death threats. Left-wing activists are showing up at Republicans held town hall meetings and shouting them down, using violence in some instances. Last month, as noted by the Daily Caller, GOP Representative Tom Garrett's town halls were repeatedly with heavy security and police presence after he and his family were repeatedly threatened to death. This is how we're going to kill your wife, some disgusting coward wrote Garrett to Political. Also last month, Tennessee police arrested and charged a 35-year-old woman, Wendy Wright, with felonious reckless endangerment after she allegedly attempted to run the GOP representative David Kustoff off the road following a raucous town hall event featured as a Republican health care legislation. This that same day, North Dakota police escorted a man at a town hall meeting hosted by Representative Kevin Kramer after a man became physical with him, shoving a fistful of dollars into Kramer's shirt collar. As related, a man looking to kill as many Republicans as possible, shooting ranking GOP Representative Scalise. Democrat-inspired political violence now escalating. Also in May, a man was arrested after threatening Representative Martha McSally, Republican from Arizona, in a voice message telling that her days were numbered because she supports Trump. The Arizona Republic noted that hers is one of the most closely divided congressional districts in the country, but that in itself has a certain because she represents the district once represented by former Representative Gabby Giffords, who was shot in the head by a deranged maniac in January 2011. 6 people were killed. Speaking of which, when Giffords, a Democrat, was shot, disgusting mainstream media went after the former governor, Alaska governor, and 2008 vice presidential nominee Sarah Palin claimed her political rhetoric led to the incident. The far left New York Daily News was emblematic. Excuse me. But anyone with any sense, that violent language can incite actual violence. That metaphor can incite murder. At the very least, Palin added to a climate of violence. No doubt how Democrats and their sycophantic media allies are keeping their heads down, whistling and shuffling their feet as if nothing their side has said or condoned in terms of violence that Trump and the GOP has any effect at all of what happened earlier today. I can only hope that the Democrats do tone down the rhetoric. Representative Chris Collins, Republican from New York, said on WBEN radio, the rhetoric has been outrageous, the finger pointing just the tone, and the agonies and the anger directed at Donald Trump, his supporters. Really, then some people react to things like that. They get angry as well, and then you fuel the fires. Mike Crystal says they won't. So, something that we did look at. People screaming at the top of their lungs like a bunch of spazzed out little children. And it's totally weak and pathetic. Plain and simple. If you have a disagreement, someone screaming at the top of their lungs, that means their base says they have no merit. That's all they want is attention. They think they're special. I don't bother by any means. It's plainly juvenile and unacceptable. Speaking of the so-called patriot, Donald J. Trump said about Scalise, according to the New American, he has a cumulative freedom index score of 68%. And it's interesting because there are certain things he supported, which are bad votes, according to the New American, such as H.R. 2018, continuing appropriations. So it's more like, to find the way they're funding the government, he voted yes on it, and it was a bad vote. Of course, the whole thing in the NDAA, which is Senate Bill 2943, and talks about foreign operations, $59.5 billion for foreign operations in Afghan, Iraq, and Syria. Among its main provisions, the massive bill creates a global engagement center to counter foreign state and non-state propaganda and disinformation efforts. He voted yes on that. And, of course, he did things on abortion and power plant emissions. They were considered good votes. Wireless surveillance, H.R. 5923, and he voted no on it, which is still a bad vote because Massey supported it to get warrants and all that. So he's more pro-Big Brother and, of course, aid to Pakistan, aid to Syria. He does support green energy mandates, which is good. Authorization use of military force, he voted for, which is H.R. 5293, and Countering Terrorism Organization Act, he voted aye. Okay, so I'll just give you a rundown, and you can actually see it for yourselves. His voting index, he was a Louisiana District 1 Republican, so I want to leave that in there because he is a streaky fellow, calls himself a patriot, but supports warless surveillance and illegal wars. See, that aspect I'll be very critical of based on his voting practices. So I will leave it at that, but I'm glad he's okay. So still keep your thoughts and prayers, but be critical on his actions, on his voting record. All right. And finally, Florida sheriff urges public to arm themselves against terrorists. This is from many stations on here. And it was Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey. Very good stuff. And he talks about like people got to be in the first line of defense. So he's got good multiple shares from June 7th, receiving 365,000 views and more than 7,500 shares in 5 days. So have been about fighting terrorists and people using weapons to be necessary. And he's talking about you're trained to shoot. And I will play a video for you because this will be a link on that. I'll play the video right now. Where are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Sheriff Wayne Ivey, and you're on scene with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. Like each of you, I am sickened and deeply concerned about the cowardly attacks that are taking place around the world. Attacks where defenseless citizens are being murdered and critically injured. Terrorists and active shooters are using every weapon available to target citizens. Guns, knives, trucks, hammers, and even explosives have all become the weapon of choice for murderers who only have one goal: killing innocent and law-abiding citizens. It seems that almost every day we hear of another attack taking place at a concert, tourist destination, church, business, or anywhere else in the world where they can strike fear in the hearts of citizens. Folks, now more than ever is the time for our citizens to be prepared to serve as the first line of defense, not only for them, but for their families when the attack happens. And let me be perfectly clear. Doing nothing or just hoping it won't happen to you is not going to save your life. For those who think that it can't or won't happen here, trust me when I tell you that it's already happening all around us. And the only thing left to question is when and where it will happen again and how many more innocent lives will be lost. As everyone knows, I am probably one of the most politically incorrect sheriffs in the country. And to be honest, I'm good with that. What I'm not good with is sitting back, waiting on the emergency to happen. Or even worse, sitting back and saying, it won't happen here, or it won't happen to me. Preparing Americans to protect themselves is a conversation we need to have right now. And giving our citizens the ability to survive a violent attack is not only politically correct, it's the absolute best way we can help protect those we took an oath to protect. Yesterday, I saw a news story where in other parts of the world, they are telling citizens if they are attacked to run, hide, and tell. Really? Coaching citizens that the best way to save their life and the life of a family member, coworker, or friend is to run, hide, and tell? What's next? Ask you to run, hide, and then draw a line in the sand while daring the cold-blooded murderer to cross it? Not here. In my book, what's next is to fully understand that this is war, and you better be prepared to wage war to protect you, your family, and those around you if attacked. I am firmly convinced that as Americans, we can no longer sit back and pray the fight isn't brought to us. Instead, we have to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, prepared and ready to issue an immediate and directed response when the attack happens. Terrorists and active shooters know that our citizens have been coached to run and hide and then patiently await help. In fact, they count on it so they can strategically target as many citizens as possible. What they don't count on is being attacked themselves, having to become defensive to save their own lives. No matter who you are or what your position is on guns, there is no denying the fact that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun or a knife is an armed and well-prepared citizen or law enforcement officer. There is no doubt that as soon as 911 is called, law enforcement is on the way. However, until they arrive, it's up to you and those with you to neutralize or eliminate the threat. You have to make a decision right now, right this moment, to be prepared to save your life and those you love when the attack happens. Sun Tzu says in The Art of War that every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. As a society and a community, we can no longer afford to wait for the attack to happen and then develop our survival strategy. We have to fight this battle on the front end by preparing ourselves to fully respond against the attackers when the time comes. As sheriff, I encourage you to be prepared to protect yourself and develop your survival strategy right now. If you have a concealed carry permit, then carry your gun with you at all times possible. It's not doing you any good at the house or in the car when the attack happens. Remember, if you've chosen a gun to protect yourself in the event of a violent attack, then you need to practice on a regular basis. I invite you to take our class, Self-Defense Through Tactical Shooting and Decision-Making, where you will receive expert training from our Brevard County Sheriff's Office firearms instructors who teach our deputies how to be tactically prepared for any type of attack. If you don't have a concealed carry permit or are not someone who is comfortable using a firearm to protect yourself, then please consider some type of intermediate weapon, such as a taser or what we now call environmental arming, using items in your immediate surrounding area as weapons, items such as a knife, chair, or a fire extinguisher. I would also encourage you to visit our website and watch the 4 A's of survival. This 7-minute video discusses the importance of awareness, essentially knowing your surroundings and having a strategy for survival, arming yourself with anything you can use to protect yourself, avoidance, running to escape the danger, and attacking the perpetrator to neutralize or eliminate the threat. It's very important to remember that while the terrorist or violent attacker may have a weapon or even the element of surprise, a team of citizens working together to attack the suspect has a much greater chance of survival than allowing the suspect to operate unimpeded. There is no doubt that it takes great courage to attack someone who is trying to kill you or your family, but unfortunately, it may be the only thing that saves your life and the life of those you dearly love. I ask you to remember this if you ever find yourself in the middle of a violent attack. Since the terrorist attacks that occurred on 9/11, we all remember the videos of the Twin Towers and Pentagon where thousands were killed. Out of all the attacks that day, only one failed, the plane that was hijacked by terrorists and then was taken back by brave Americans who worked together as a team to keep the terrorists from reaching their targeted destination. While we will never know how many lives they saved that day, one thing is perfectly clear. Their heroic actions saved countless lives and showed terrorists what happens when Americans fight back. Remember, it takes a community to protect a community, and right now is the time to prepare for the emergency so we can do everything possible to protect ourselves and those around us should that time ever come. Best case scenario, you are mentally and physically prepared, and that day never happens. For more information on our self-defense through tactical shooting class and to watch the 4 A's of survival, please visit our website at brevardsheriff.com.
Can't argue with that. Yes, he is correct, because the truth of the matter is, my friends, I've been saying this multiple times, technically the police aren't obligated to protect you as an individual. And I've posted it enough times on the footnotes on sovereign immunity and tort liability. Because if we don't, it will burn each and every one of us. And it's not being paranoid or saying we're being G.I. Joe or Rambo. Okay? That's completely inapplicable. If you say, oh, that's where we got trained officers to do the job. No. You, as individuals, are on the first line defense. Prepare yourselves, practice. Even if you live in Brevard County, take these courses. Go to these instructions. Learn about self-defense, marksmanship, etc. Be multi-task individuals. Because one day, this can happen again, wherever you live. Ducking, running, or asking for underdog to save you only works in cartoons. And thank you, Sheriff Wayne Ivey, for that presentation. And you always have homage in my realm. And that is all, my friends. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this episode and many others throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to send me something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedom's Network, Steam.life, Minds.com. Oh, shoot, and I forgot FutureNet.club and Patreon.com. If you want to send me donations, that'd be cool. With this /looking third in the comments in there as well. Furthermore, you can email me at LokiLuck3@gmail.com or do cryptotypes LokiLuck03@protonmail.com. And looks like I goofed. I reset the music credit for AKnewGod. Oh, well, that's how it goes. That is all. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. I would like to thank CJ's Java Lounge for letting me do my show in their beautiful facility, which is located at 400 Southwest 1st Avenue along the New River of Fort Lauderdale, which is Suite 1 to be exact. And for more information, you can dial 754-301-5832. Okay? At the New River Yacht Club building, right at the left-hand corner. It's along the Andrews Avenue Bridge, southwest side. Okay? Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.